Day 205 of Everyday Bible with Ada Ukabia, Isaiah chapter 35 and 36. If you get highlighter, or you get pencil, or even crayon, I want you to look for this word in the very first verse of the first chapter for today, crocus. Now, very colorful and very beautiful flower. Look am up, check the image, then you go understand why sometimes I dey use my teacher mind take pause make I search things wey I never know. When I see the word, it can remind me of the Nigerian national flower, Costus spectabilis. Why e be say they make reference to these three places in the Bible? Lebanon, Carmel, Sharon. Lebanon, e get majestic cedar trees, and Lebanon dey symbolize strength and durability. So for prophetic messages, e dey represent the glory and restoration wey God want to give his people and their land. Carmel, Mount Carmel na place, mountain range wey dey very fertile. You go see the green vegetation, and e dey linked to prophet Elijah. Carmel dey symbolize God's provision. Sharon, the plain of Sharon na fertile coastal region wey get rich pastures and flowers. E dey symbolize beauty, prosperity, and divine blessing. So all three of them join, then they serve as spiritual abundance, renewal, and glory wey God promise in people. Make I now face the lessons wey me I get as I dey read today's chapters. From verse 3 of the first chapter, I want us make we just imagine you see people wey get tired hands, their knees dey shake, they just dey tremble. Those kind of people dey on the edge, dem fit collapse anytime. Na exactly the picture of the people of Israel, spiritually and emotionally. After many years of fight and they do war, many years people dey threaten them of exile, and then they decay internally. Everything spiritually just dey die slowly. God dey tell them say him go strengthen them, he go give them power. Make we try no discourage people with our words. Instead, make we encourage them, make we speak courage into their own weaknesses. Take your mind back to that time when the people of God dey fight and Moses needed to hold his hand up. Two people support him, Aaron and Hur. And as long as him hand dey up, him people go dey win the fight. Check around you. Who dey weak at this time? You suppose become that person's Aaron. Make you be their strength. No just say, you go dey fine, oh, it is well, oh, God dey with you. Instead, hold their hands up. Make we move on to verse 7 of that very first chapter. See how God can transform dry, lifeless place into a source or sources of refreshment. Israel don't go through dryness in the desert. From their 40 years when they go waka through the wilderness because of their sin anyway, now they don't enter spiritual drought under wicked kings. But God, they promise them, say, he go provide the living water. Not just water we go make them survive, but water we go revive them. If you dey go through a dry season at this time, Abeg, I want to remind you, say, our God na God of impossibility. Na God wey dey specialize to turn drought into springs, where they turn desert into a land of flourish. So no give up. That your pool is forming beneath the sand. That pool of water, it dey form beneath that dry land where you think say you dey. Now for verse 9 in the same chapter 35, and they describe a safe passage for the redeemed. We know say lions, they symbolize danger and are threats from evil nations like Assyria, Babylon, to the people of Israel. Even internal corruption amongst his people. But God, they promised them a highway of holiness where only the redeemed fit travel. Just like God helped them with the Red Sea, when he parts the Red Sea, and then he can't close them back when the enemies, the army of Pharaoh, they pursue them. The path that road, that way wey God prepare for us, e go dey narrow but no shaking. E dey well guarded. You no go waka that road alone because God dey with you. So the highway of holiness, na God create am, and e dey enemy proof for only those people wey trust in God. As we move on to chapter 36, abeg, check verse 6. We don read this story before, where the king of Assyria dey boast. He get pride, he get confidence, he dey intimidate the people of Judah. He dey mock them for trusting in Egypt when they go back to the place where dem dey enslaved before. Instead of them to turn to God for help, then they fall back on Egypt. They tell them, say, this same Egypt, everybody wey trust in Egypt, Egypt don't always fail them. So why will the people of Judah go to trust Egypt? Even the enemy nation recognize an evil place like Egypt. And it dey correct. Egypt no be savior. Over and over again, we don't see how the people of God run to a foreign land instead of them to go to God for help. So make you dey very careful of who you dey lean on during crisis. They no fit support you. The only person wey you need to lean on na God, because no dey break under pressure. Now for verse 12 of this same last chapter, we see where the enemy dey use public humiliation and fear. They try to threaten the people of Judah. So he tried to crush their hope even before the battle start. But we all remember waiting King Hezekiah telling people. He said, make una no open their mouth to respond to these people. Look straight to God. I want make we pause understand something. Sometimes enemies, they feel win without a fight. You know how? Then go try to talk you out of your belief, out of your faith. So when fear, they shout loud, it good, make we no answer back. Make we just carry our wahala, go to the throne of God, instead of carrying them to the street, they disgrace ourselves. So the thing where Hezekiah telling people, say, don't respond, make we remember them every time we will find ourselves in a situation like this. I want make una focus on how these elders leave the presence of these enemies we bring news, how they turn, go face their king. They no argue, they no do panic for public. They just go to the king, then tear their clothes, a sign of grief. When you dey under attack, your best defense, no be say you go get sharp tongue, sharp mouth, they talk blah, 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 argue back and forth. Na lie. Na to get a quiet spirit and a praying heart. You see how these elders then show their sign of grief? Just present the matter before God.